We've spoken to the JourneyMEN a few times on the programme over the past 12 months or so. They're a mental health charity and they haven't stopped since the pandemic started. Now, they work with men from all backgrounds, all ages. One thing they haven't been able to do until now is to get out on a narrowboat, because this is all part of what they do. I mean, it's fantastic. Chugging up and down at that speed, 4 miles an hour. No mobile phone signal. No one can mither you. What a life. Fantastic. Because of the work they do with 200 plus men, they don't all get on the narrowboat at the same time. They use this in their services and they spend time with each other. Just have a chat, and that's it. And they talk about their experiences. If you want to chat a little bit, if you want to chat a lot, that's fine. It's up to you. Well, last week, they invited our Minty, Claire Minter, along to join them on a narrowboat in Nantwich. I think, would that be on the Shropshire, isn't it? Shropshire Union Canal, I think, to meet some of them on their return to the marina. And this is what Minty brought back. She had a great time, by the way.
My name's Phil Roberts. I'm the CEO from JourneyMEN in Birkenhead.
Now, it's not our job you've got, is it, Phil? We're sat on a narrowboat with a cup of tea. Listen to that little engine.
I know. And I haven't even got to go outside to drive it. And it's,
no.
As you can see, we've got the lovely weather today. It's
typical
absolutely throwing
British
it
weather.
out. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's nice, isn't it? It's nice to, as you say, you can hear the pitter-patter on the roof. And it's nice and soothing, I think.
How did you get involved with going out on narrowboats, though? Because it's an ingenious idea, because it's so relaxing, isn't it?
I know. We've been on the narrowboats for literally about 5 years. This is the YMCA narrowboat, and we've used this so many times. When I was in the police, we used it there. So when JourneyMEN happened, and we opened it last year, it was a natural progression. We've used the narrowboats for taking our men out. We've done floating counselling. The floating counselling is amazing. I've got an amazing guy called Peter. He's our counsellor. And we do floating counselling. We do group counselling. You go to the front of the boat when it's not raining, close the doors, and then you can have one-to-one counselling. And it's just in a nice, peaceful environment.
Yeah.
And, this countryside is gorgeous, even when it's raining.
Yeah, I know, it's lovely. But it's lovely you're watching the ducks. I've seen swallows going over.
I know.
And you say it's just the different noise. It's just being out again,
Yes.
isn't it?
But that's it. We've been stuck in for over a year now. And as restrictions have, hopefully are easing, we want to get our men out of the houses, the flats, out of Birkenhead, out of Liverpool, into this countryside.
Yeah.
We're 50 minutes away.
Yeah.
And they can be sitting on this boat. We get the men working as a team. They make the bacon butties, they make the brews, they can do the lock work.
Bang.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bump, wasn't it? And it's just a nice day out.
Yeah.
And I've been on quite a lot of trips, and not one person said, I didn't like that, or that was rubbish.
Yeah.
Everyone comes away with a smile on the face.
We got Ross with us today, bless him. He's going to have a go at driving it later.
Brilliant.
I might get off before that happens.
He's a much better driver than me.
Is he fine?
Yes. If you see me at the other end, get off the boat.
Fair enough. But how have you, the change you've seen in people who've joined you, how different have they become?
It's a massive change, and it's just a pleasure to see the change as well. And the main thing what they like about JourneyMEN is they get the same support worker all the time, so they get that trust, rapport. They get the mobile telephone number, so if they are having a bad time, they can pick up the phone and speak to that same person. You're not speaking to a stranger, and you've got to go over old ground, and some of the old ground it's really hard for them to talk about.
Painful.
Yes, so literally it's just a better way. I've seen all the gaps in the services, and that's why I made JourneyMEN last year, and it's just plugging those gaps, treating people as individuals and not just a case number. It's the right way. It's respectful, and it's getting the proper results. It's an amazing journey for me as well. For me to leave an organisation that pays your wage every month and pays everything else that goes along. It was a big scary step for me. And my journey started when I left and opened this, but it's the best journey ever. I love it. And one thing I'm really proud is now we're commissioned by the NHS, CWP, and for a fledgling organisation to get that accreditation, it's really unheard of, and we're so proud. So that's what we're going on now. We want the business to not just function for the next 6 months. We want 6 years and beyond.
Yeah.
And we are going to be here for that amount of time.
I feel as though I'm on it. There's Minty just having a quick chat with Phil Roberts, who's the founder and the CEO of JourneyMEN, on a narrowboat in the rain in Nantwich on the Shropshire Union Canal. She's going to talk next with Ross, who got in touch with the charity. He was in prison, left prison, and then he really started to struggle. So we're going to hear about Ross's story in a couple of minutes' time. I love the way Minty went, and there's swallows flying over as well. Swallows. Love you, Mint. It's gone. We're halfway through a little chat. Well, certainly Minty is. With the JourneyMEN, who are based in Birkenhead, regularly take out their members on fishing trips, walking and talking events, day out on a narrowboat. We've just heard a little bit with Minty there talking to Phil Roberts about what they do. It's a chance for the members just to meet other people, have a chat, get their hands dirty, opening locks and steering the boat. Sailing the boat, driving the boat, parking the boat. I've got all the terminology wrong, but Minty went along to meet some of the lads last week. Spoke with Ross Abercrombie about his story, how he got involved with JourneyMEN, which of course is the men's health charity. If you're interested in this or you may know someone who might be able to take advantage of it, keep listening. We'll give you the details after Minty's had another chat.
I came out of custody. Unfortunately, I was, convicted, went to prison for 3 years and came out and found that, adjusting was quite difficult. It was very daunting. It's not something that, I'd ever, envisaged growing up and even, in my, early mid-20s that I'd ever have to do, but ultimately it happened. And firstly, I just reached out because I was struggling with my own mental health, and it was during when the lockdown had first hit. So that was something that resonated with me, was that suddenly everywhere was shut. And then this new sort of organisation devoted to mental health, assisting and just being there to sort of listen had cropped up during the start of a pandemic. And so I felt that I did have somewhere to turn. I engaged with them. I was a little bit standoffish at first because I've engaged with other programmes and it was very sort of much group therapy and stuff like that. I went in, had a cup of tea, basically just had a chat, just a really informal chat about how you are, what your journey's been, and I was just put at ease straight away. Just felt this instant rapport. It's also fitted in really well with what I ultimately do now. I coach an awful lot of kids football. So
it's really, has it changed your life, getting involved with these guys?
Yeah, for the better, most definitely. That sense of purpose and even just that sort of well-being, like today, even though
we didn't pick the weather, did we?
It's just started raining, but that meaningful activity, something that's a little bit different. I've never done this before, and if you just turn around to me sort of 4 years ago and said, well, don't worry, in a couple of years you'll be engaging with like-minded people that have got a sort of common goal as yourself, but you're going to be chugging along a canal on a narrow boat. I wouldn't have believed you, but
here Ross,
here we are.
I know we're hard. Get yourself in. We'll finish this indoors.
Right or wrong, if you've been convicted, that's fair enough. But when you're coming out, when you've served your time, you need to be able to reintegrate like I say again, I was really lucky. I had a really good sort of family network that were there, you know, sort of to collect me and take me in. You know, friend gave me a job for a while until I found, you know, obviously the football that was my calling.
And how do you think, you know, we've just had Mental Health Awareness Week, you know, just recently, and how has your mental health changed?
I mean, initially it was a struggle, which is why ultimately I reached out to JourneyMEN. I think I was then able to sort of deal with it, and the only reason why was because I'd been in custody. Now that sounds, you know, horrible to say, but it actually conditioned me for that, you know, sort of lockdown. To me, it wasn't a lockdown. A lockdown is when they lock that door and they don't open it again until 7:30, 8 o'clock the day after. And, you know, ultimately, you know, your liberty's been taken away. You're being punished for a crime that you've committed, and that's fair dues. But to me, that was my perception of lockdown. So I was still able to go out, exercise in the garden. So it became more about what I could do, rather than what I couldn't.
Interesting, isn't it? There's Ross Abercrombie just having a chat with Claire Minter, and timed it really well by the sounds of it, because they're on a narrow boat and it sounds as though it just came to a halt and started to tie up there. But yeah, if you want to find out more, and thanks Ross, by the way, for talking to us about that and just giving us a glimpse into what's happening in your life as well. And for many other men as well, they've been incredibly helpful, and just having a chat, you know, with other people, and just, even if it's only for an hour a week or even less than that, can make a huge difference. If you want to find out more about JourneyMEN, the charity, you can have a look online. They're called JourneyMEN CIC. It's all one word, JourneyMenCIC.com. Have a little look, and if you know somebody you might want to take advantage of that, or maybe even yourself, just click it and away you go. Might be the best thing you've done in a long time.